Well,
This
I
conference
have
will now be recorded.
okay, very good. I call the meeting of the MRPC Nominating Committee to order at 6:32 for the date of May, are we 14th?
15.
15th. Oh, time flies. Okay, very good. And this meeting is being held in accordance with Governor Baker's decree suspending some of the rules of the open meeting law and Governor Healy's extension of those rules. So all votes will be taken by roll call. Hope that's got close enough. I know that you're going to get a good one for me by the time we get to the regular meeting. Okay.
Yes, to answer that question, yes.
Okay, very good. Glenn, what we're here for is to um, nominate a slate of officers to be presented at our next MRPC meeting. And I don't know who wants to start this out. I know Glenn did throw out some suggestions earlier today that some members had sent in their name that they would like to participate. So Glenn, could you take away on that?
Sure, including Christopher. So the last few years, um,
Oh, I'm sorry, Glenn. I forgot to call roll call.
go for it,
Okay.
boss, go for it.
Okay, here we go. Okay, Christopher Monroe.
Here.
Okay, very good. Guy Corbacero. Guy Corbacero. Uh, we had this lawyer that said the absurd statement, which I believe that the Open Meeting Law Committee, or whatever they're called, requires you to say your name and not here. Here does not cut it. I couldn't believe that. So that's a joke of the day.
Well, Christopher
I
Monroe
love it.
present with my camera on.
Okay, I argued that point, but he said no. He said he's been arguing with them, so it just shows how I won't even use the words. Okay, back to you, Glenn.
That's fine. Thank you, Guy. I'm glad you threw that out there. We chatted about that, but I forgot. So in past years, and I'm saying a lot of this for Christopher, so background. So the past few years, it's not a struggle to get people to serve, but it's kind of been a struggle to get people to serve. And Christopher, thank you for volunteering. So now this year we had too many people to throw their hat in the rings, and so Christopher, for the public record, Christopher asked me today in an email after I sent out this proposed slate, which is subject to the vote of the commissioners tonight, to you two. It's not up to staff. We just throw names down. So Christopher said, hey, by the way, I told Guy I threw my hand up also. Christopher emailed me on the topic. Christopher, I emailed back, and I basically said we'd just like the people to have some more experience as representatives of their communities before we have them go up to the executive committee. Now, that's just staff history reporting what we've done in the past. There's no rule, there's no policy, there's nothing in our bylaw, Christopher, about this. I just was trying to give you historical context, so that's all. So it's between you two tonight if you want to bounce out one of these people and Christopher wants to go in. I just want to say that for the public record, okay? Having said that, Laura has served as treasurer for 3 to 5 years. She's been on the commission for about 10-ish. Roger served as assistant. He said he's been around for about 10-ish. He said he willing to serve as the vice. Now, Guy said, I'm going to paraphrase Guy, and then Guy's going to step in and correct me. Guy's basically said I can stay as chair, or if somebody wants to come up, that's fine. Changing the guard's not a problem. So Guy's ego's not so big that he can't say, hey, cool, somebody else wants to bang the gavel. That's fine. Thank you, Mr. Current Chairman. Let's see. Our current vice chair is John Telepsiak, and I did email and then spoke to John about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I've lost track of time. And John said, with family commitments, he's basically a full-time babysitter, granddad. And he said, it's time for me to step aside. Please, if you can find somebody, great. Because I'm spread too thinly with all the grandkids right now. So that's some history there for the chair, the vice chair. That left the treasurer and assistant treasurer thing open. Bob basically volunteered, I believe, for treasurer. Holly, your mic is on.
Sorry.
That's okay. Don't sweat the small stuff. Tell Rob with two B's we said hi, by the way, or your dogs, whoever you were talking to. Um, I had a nice chat with Kyle Nardowitz about a week or 10 days ago, and he indicated that he said, "Glenn, tell me about the secretary slot. I know you struggled to get somebody in that for last year, maybe the year before." And I said, "This is what that job does. I may have them sign a clerk certificate of vote once a year. I may never. And as far as the executive committee itself, it may meet once a year, 3 times a year, or 0 times a year. We met as executive committee, I think. We haven't met this fiscal year. Maybe we met once the fiscal year prior. I don't remember. It meets pretty infrequently. That's just another tidbit as a takeaway. Peter Cunningham has been at large. And Jeff, as I said to Christopher in my email, Jeff only has a few more meetings under his belt than Christopher. Jeff volunteered to do at large unless somebody else wants it. So that's a slate. It's just basically, this is a staff research report, basically, to you folks saying these are people who volunteered and slotted in. Now it's up to you folks, you members of the nominating committee, to do with these slots as you deem appropriate. And we have no say. Well, staff doesn't have a say. We just do the due diligence and try to get people to raise their hand, or cajole them, educate them. And in the not in the old days. Oh my God, I'm going to date myself. But it has been done. Last thing I'll say is it has been done differently in the past. Sometimes in the past chairs would take on the role and call everybody and say, okay, do you want to serve? Do you not want to serve? Blah, blah, blah. Or sometimes they have the executive director and the admin people like Holly and me just reach out to people. We don't care either way. Just let us know what you want us to do in the future. That's perfectly fine. But this is the result of a lot of emails and conversations that have happened over the last roughly 2 to 3 weeks. So there's a slate for you to consider and do it as you please, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you, Glenn. Kyle, or Chris, I mean. Christopher, sorry, I'm looking at my sheet.
Oh,
Uh,
no problem.
Let me hear your input. How much you'd like to be on it? I did not really look at the slate that you sent, Glenn, and I'm going to get my other computer. Give me a second.
While he's looking for that, totally on a personal, Holly, how's your dog?
I'm back.
Oh, good,
How's Seamus?
good.
He's
And
okay.
yours? Yep.
Since he got the shot, his tummy has settled. We gave him some chicken broth tonight with a little bit of rice and a little bit of boiled chicken, so he seems to be okay. The
Good.
next 12 hours, we'll see. I think he's fine. Labs are known for being champions in the vomiting Olympics, so it's just a thing that they do. It's just something that they do. Other dogs, scratch their haunch. Labs are like, it's just a thing. Their tummies are, they're subject to bloat, where the stomach
Yep.
spins. You got to watch bloat too, as you know. You gotta be careful with labs, man. So when they have an episode, I'm on high alert. So I'm glad Seamus is better. And we did some filler time talking about dogs, Jeff, I'm sorry, Guy, while you were doing
Okay,
your list. So back to you, sir.
Chris, what are your thoughts?
So there's, I guess, a couple points that make me want to be more involved. Well, the first one being is I take a contrary position that we should advance people because they've been around for a while, and mostly the reason that I take that contrary position is because we need to become prepared to deal with the transition from when Glenn retires. So I think we're looking a few years out at this point, and now's the time to really start looking at that. So to the idea that we can get some young folks involved in leadership in the commission heading into that time period so that they're more experienced and have feet on the ground ready to go at that time period and are going to have a bunch of time on the clock left. I think we could all be doing ourselves a favor. That's part of my supposition, because I also think there's a general tendency that planning tends to be done, at least from an elected position, tends to be done from a very well-seasoned age bracket, and that getting some greener horns into the mix is arguably going to be a good thing for us all in the long run. So that's kind of where I'm coming from it. Um, I am passionate about serving. I'm not passionate about serving enough to the point of bumping somebody off. But I think I have a lot to offer and am fairly well qualified, and I am happy to cede spots to other younger folks coming in order to help keep the organization, uh, well, put the organization on a better footing for when we have to prepare for life after Glenn.
Hey, thank you.
I love every comment, just for the record.
Christopher.
I do. I
Now,
do. I really do.
okay, we have uh, the positions of Laura wants to be chair, and I think she deserves a shot at it. Roger wants to be vice chair, and he deserves a shot at it. Who was the secretary again? I've got my here.
Secretary's Carl Nardowitz.
Yes, that's he's filling that. Yeah, cause I gotta tell you, uh, would you be interested in the assistant treasurer's position, Chris? And I will bow out of that. I only took that because I thought we had figured out enough people. So I thought that was an empty spot where I could stop in on these meetings, but I can stop in on on the executive committee meetings anyway, uh, if I really wanted to, as a just as a observer. Don't need a vote. And I've been on the executive committee for what, 8 years now. I've been on the board as a executive committee, and there has never been anything that my thoughts and opinions would be a strong point on it to fight for something. They're pretty good. So to me, being a regular member of the MRPC is fine. Uh, so would you be interested in the assistant treasurer position, Christopher?
Yeah, I would certainly be interested in that to help get my feet a little bit wetter. Because ultimately, what got me interested in helping out at this level was I reached out to Guy a few months ago and was like, "Hey, I'm looking for a mentor. I want to know everything I possibly can about MRPC, how it operates. I've been reading the statutes, I've been reading the bylaws. I want to jump in and learn. So I think that would be a great opportunity for me, and I think it could also be helpful for the organization, training up those young people for the future. So
Absolutely. As you can see, I had them doing all the stuff I should have done. I've kind of got stale. I've got tired. At 75, it's like, I've been doing it. So I had, the enthusiasm gone like any job you're in for 8, 10 years. It gets mundane and your enthusiasm goes where you used to spend 20 hours at it. Now I'll spend 2 hours. So I am glad to give that aspect up. And for you, Chris, be uh, to be nominated for assistant treasurer instead of me. How's that sound? I was saying it's between me and Chris. So.
I think it sounds pretty good, and your experience and contributions over the years are obviously awesome, because I know what it's like firsthand. Like in Hubbardston, in our upcoming ballot, we have 20 spots that are open. So getting people who want to be involved and want to serve and who are qualified to do so, it's such a great thing. So years is absolutely nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, great. And I actually want to be something on one of the boards of the MRPC emeritus. Glenn, I'm talking to you.
Sure, we'll get you a gold watch and a pen. And
Yeah. No, I mean, there was some board that the president of the MEC was participated the next year, or did I just make that up in my mind?
well, actually, the executive committee, the old rules were, we have a hybrid policy now. The old rules that, Christopher, for your edification, we do have a private nonprofit affiliate. We have a 501c3, Montechusett Enterprise Center Inc. We had done some affordable housing projects with that. When we set up the MEC back in 2003, the executive committee of the MRPC were automatically designated in the MEC bylaws as being the board of directors members of MEC. We had to change that a little bit, and we had to reach out and get some other members. So instead of having all 7 members, something like that, I need to reread the amendment to the bylaws of MEC. But the bottom line is, not all 7 people on the MRPC executive committee are on the board of directors of MEC. We had to whittle it down to maybe 4, which might be chairman, vice chairman, treasurer, assistant treasurer, something like that. I don't remember. Maybe the clerk too. I don't recall. And then we had to get out of the members representing LMI income populations and so on and so forth. So we had to do more of a hybrid and mix up the board a little bit. So that's the other duty. But MEC board hasn't met in a couple of years. I try to have a board meeting every year. I need to have one by September. File another annual report. We haven't been doing much because of COVID, bluntly, and then because we're getting assaulted with funds to do stuff. MEC was seen as a way to do more projects that are brick and mortar, earn revenue for MRPC, and have staff deliver services in the 3-dimensional world, like build affordable housing,
Well,
do job training, etc. But that's just so you know, there's that other chapter out there, and I
yeah,
think as
that's the whole thing. I was just, half tongue in cheek, saying that, so you didn't
no,
have to get.
I know that,
Well,
but it
but you
reminded
can
me
give
of
that
this
to
other thing.
Christopher when another time.
Right,
Okay,
right.
very good. So the slate is. Let me go here. The chair, Laura Schifrin, vice chair, Roger Hoyt, treasurer, Robert Swartz, assistant treasurer, um, Jeffrey Tillotson, Jeffrey Monroe. Hell, it's right in front of me. What am I looking at?
Christopher
I can't
Monroe.
see that well. Anyway, Jeffrey Tillotson. Then the 2 members at large are Peter Cunningham and Robert Schwartz. Is that the slate that is agreed on? If so, I will entertain a motion.
Wait. You just said the 2 at large are Peter Cunningham and Robert Schwartz. I thought
Oops,
Bob
No,
I'm
Schwartz.
Jeff
sorry.
Tillotson.
They're currently right now the 2 at large.
I'll read it in the motion.
Got it.
So I move that the nominating committee recommend Laura Schifrin as chair, Roger Hoyt as vice chair, Robert Swartz as treasurer, Christopher Monroe as assistant treasurer, Kyle Nardowitz as secretary, Jeffrey Tillerson as member at large number 1, and Peter Cunningham as member at large number 2.
See, he should
Good
be chair. He
job.
can announce all the names. I second that motion. Guy Corbacero. Okay, I will call the roll. Christopher Monroe
Christopher Monroe, aye.
and Guy Corbacero votes aye. So that is the slate of officers we will present at the next MRPC meeting.
Very good, and thank you. Please don't adjourn. The next MRPC meeting, you just raised it, won't be June 1st. It should be June 8th, Holly?
It's June 8th.
June 8th.
Great.
And the reason why we do that, oncoming Assistant Treasurer, Mr. Monroe, Attorney Monroe, is that if a meeting, we meet on the first Thursday of the month, unless the first Thursday is the 1st or the 2nd. Bank statements don't come in until the 2nd. They can't do the cash schedule till like the 3rd. So we don't meet any earlier than the 3rd, because June 1st is a Thursday. We would meet on the 8th. Just a quick FYI. If you may have heard that me drone on about that in the past, I apologize if I've repeated myself, but I just thought it would be prudent tonight. Okay.
Much
Thank you, Mr.
appreciated.
Chairman.
Yeah, I'd emailed you about that about a previous meeting. I was like, how'd the meeting move? And you would let me know.
Okay, we did. Yeah, it rang a
that.
bell. It rang a bell, Christopher. Thank you.
Okay, very good. If there's, is there any other business to be brought before the committee? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Christopher Monroe, motion to adjourn.
Okay, Guy Corbusier seconds it. By the rules, by roll, Christopher Monroe
Christopher Monroe, aye.
and Guy Corbusier votes aye. This meeting is adjourned at 6:53. Thank you, everyone. Great fun.
Any-
Thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Take care.
Okay,
Good
off
night.
to the town meeting now.
Take care. Oh, good luck.
Yeah, I'll have fun.